What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Believe in Oregon podcast. I'm Zachary, Neel, my co-host over there, Jonathan Stewart. Jay Stu, what's up, man? How are we doing?
Doing really good, man. First of all, UW lost today.
That was the best thing that could have ever happened after Oregon beats Oregon State. UW lost to Washington State. I'm so happy we started right there.
Yeah. So everything's just, starting to align. I saw this meme and it said, Oregon fans, you can go back to enjoying college football again.
Exactly. That's where we are. We could
Yeah.
relax. We can have fun. We got a bye week now
Got
too,
a
so we get
bye
to
week, which is
be
huge.
riding high for the next week or so
Yeah.
until something happens. So yeah, I mean, if you watched the game, great. You know what we're talking about. If you didn't watch the game, Oregon beat Oregon State 49-14. A pretty up and down first half. They went in leading by a score at the half, but then they absolutely put it on them in the second half. 27 unanswered points. The defense really stepped up in the second half after kind of struggling in the first half. They gave up only 91 total yards, 15 rushing yards in the second half. Allowed just 1 for 8 on third down and fourth down conversions after allowing 7 for 10 in the first half defensively. Overall, I mean, my instant takeaway is that this is what we needed to see from Oregon. This is exactly what we went into the weekend wanted to see. This is the dominant performance that we've kind of been waiting for all year, the last 3 weeks. But what was kind of your instant takeaway watching this game?
Instant takeaway was we had a complete game to where we were able to take our starters out. That's all I
That's
wanted before we got into like the
big
nitty
bonus.
gritty of playing the Big Ten conference. I wanted to actually see our non-starters, and we were able to do that, and I feel pretty good about it. But other thoughts that I had was the offensive line came to play, and
Yep.
thank God they did. I'm not really sure what happened this weekend or this week, but whatever it is, continue to do it on your bye week. Do not lose the focus. Do not lose the confidence that you are walking away from with this game. And it's just not any. It's not just any game. This is Oregon State. This
Hmm.
is rivalry of all rivalry, right? And so
Hmm.
you got their best foot forward out of that game. If you were going to fall into any slumber or any type of trap, this would have been that game.
This was their Super
And
Bowl.
you rose above their very best and you dominated them. You didn't just
Yeah.
beat them, you dominated them. And yeah, early on in the game, defense gave up some yards, some yak or not yak, but yeah, yards after carry. But I think the second half, just being able to just come together and basically just like I just felt like we mounted ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And just kept on drilling, um, and just being stingy. Be
Hmm.
stingy on defense is what I think we need to. If that's something that is being part of a message
Hmm.
being sent to the Big Ten, is we're stingy. you
It's
know, you,
just it's also just physical too. I mean, Dan
yeah,
said that after the game. He's like, we wanted to be the more physical team in this game, and that was
and
very
you saw
clear.
that.
Yeah.
And the run game, we saw the run game come alive,
Hmm.
and I mean, seeing Dylan Gabriel move in the pocket, and just you know setting his offensive lineman up for success too.
Hmm.
There was a play where Dylan kind of escaped the pocket a little bit and threw to the back of the end zone,
Hmm.
and Cornelius made a really good block on the right side edge
Hmm.
by clearing the guy that sometimes as an offensive lineman, if you have a quarterback that has good pocket awareness, you can sometimes take defensive linemen wherever they want to go.
Just get him out of the way.
If he wants to crash down, the line of scrimmage, then push him on through, and then it was beautifully done. And Dylan Gabriel, bounced out and bought himself some time, and you know, lined it up in the back of the end zone there. So stuff like that for the offensive line is is huge because it's like, okay, like my quarterback trusts me.
Mhm.
My quarterback feels where I am in the pocket. And now I feel like I can, find the leverage, get my guy, and take him wherever I feel he needs to go because my quarterback sees me and feels where I'm trying to go. So there's just a lot there that I just loved about this game in the sense of just where they are awareness wise.
Yeah, I think it's right to start with the offensive line because that was the biggest question going into it, and that was by far the best thing that we saw. At Ducks Wire, we always give out a player of the game award. Actually, we didn't give it out after the Boise State game because I don't think anyone deserved it in the Boise State game, but we gave it out to the offensive line today because they were truly like from start to finish
Yeah,
incredible. They gave up no sacks. I
no
think they
sacks,
gave up hardly any pressures. I can't wait to look at the PFF grades and see how many pressures they gave up.
200
But
plus yards rushing. The
7.5 yards per carry, the running
yeah,
game. I mean, it goes to show that when the offensive line is clicking and you're giving Gabriel time and you're creating holes for Jordan James and Noah Whittington, everything clicks and
yeah,
the offense just looks night and day better.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was a great point you made about Cornelius. I noticed him do that a couple times in the game where, it's not like he beat the offensive or he beat the defensive lineman, but he kind of just used his momentum against him and just like, oh,
yeah,
you want to go there? Right. We're going to go further there than you want to. So,
yeah.
the offensive line, I just thought, one of the biggest things is, last week we talked, they used 11 combinations of guys. You know how many they used today before they brought the starters out? One.
One.
They figured out the guys that, and this was all without Matthew Bedford too. Who,
Yeah,
he was not on the injury report. We thought he might play today, still didn't. But I mean, now he's got the bye week to rest up, and I think we will see him after the bye. But you know what? They've proved today that if he does not come back, they are still serviceable. I know Oregon
yeah,
State may not be as good as a lot of the Big Ten teams you'll face, but they still looked really good there. So I think Duck fans should have some pretty good confidence about where they are right now. Any other major takeaways other than the offensive line for you?
Um, and going back to the defense, right? The defense came alive in the second half. Early on, I know we were texting back and forth, and you mentioned time of possession is going to be a factor in this game. And luckily, we were able to stop them from doing, what they were doing in the first quarter, first
Yeah.
half, which was running the ball successfully. Um, you know, Oregon didn't have what we had like four third downs, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. It was, yeah,
Something
very
strange.
minimal.
And so when you're playing a game where you're having no third downs, it just means that you're, first you're successful in your early downs, obviously, right?
Hmm.
And you're scoring fast. And the time of possession in the first half, um, if it continued to go the way it went on the defensive side of the ball, we could have ended up with a different result. Yeah, we would have continued to score, but it would have been, back and forth type of game. And I think we still would have came out victorious because of the fact that we're scoring at rampant speed and they're going to
Hmm.
just run out of time by just them running the ball out. But saying all that, the defense came to play in the second half
Hmm.
and they, the offensive line, they answered the call
Hmm.
throughout the whole game. Coming off of a game of Boise State, I would have loved to see the defense answer the call in the first half,
Earlier,
like out
yeah.
the gate, early out the gate, because what we saw from the offensive line was take ownership, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And the next thing that I want to see is out the gate is our defense taking ownership. Yeah, they
Hmm.
came alive in that second half, and I really appreciate that. But that's not going to cut it when you're going against the big dogs.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure we take a step back from this bye week, heal up, but also recalibrate. How do I
Hmm.
want to step on that field the next time I do? Is it going to be lackluster or is it going to be pedal to the metal? And I
Hmm.
think that's what needs to be drilled into these guys in this bye week. Yeah, enjoy your time, and make sure you catch up on your school and whatnot. But make sure we get our mentals in order.
Hmm.
We cannot miss this. This is a chance of a lifetime for some of these kids, right?
Hmm.
For you seniors, for you juniors that might not be here next year. You have to set the tone in the locker room and make it known, no BSing around, with this time off. Uh, we haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
So,
I think one other takeaway for me is I'm just, it wasn't fair after the first 2 weeks to kind of criticize or question Dylan Gabriel because, he was not dealing with a full deck in front of him. And he was still putting up decent numbers too. I mean, he
yeah,
was not the problem. But I think I'm not alone in thinking, okay, this guy's kind of been touted to be, the Heisman front runner. He didn't quite look like that. I mean, there was a lot of fans I saw that
he,
were like, oh man, I miss
he
Bo
did
Nix.
today.
He looked incredible today, man. I mean,
Yeah,
his first incompletion didn't come until the third quarter. He finished 20 for 24 in most of those drops. I think 3 of those 4 incompletions were actual drops by the wide receivers.
yeah.
Like we've been asking him to. He got out and ran the ball. He had a 55-yard touchdown on
He
option
was
plays
way
to the
more
left.
comfortable today. Like, just
He,
way more comfortable.
and that's why it goes back to what I said earlier, man. When that offensive line is clicking, it's like
Hmm.
you as a married man know as well as I do. When mama ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Somebody's happy.
When the offensive line is not playing well, you're
Yeah,
not really going to play well across the board because man, everything starts in the trenches. And so once they got that figured out, and as long as they can continue to have that offensive line clicking, the sky's the limit for this offense, man. This is what we wanted to see and what we expected to see all year from this offense. So, it's one game. They need to keep proving it week in and week out that they can do this. But I think that Duck fans should be leaving this game and are leaving this game feeling really good. Like like you said earlier, like they can enjoy the college football season once again.
yeah, exactly. You can enjoy it. Go have a drink, have a dessert, glass of
Have
wine,
a drink. I'm
kick
enjoying a
back.
drink myself.
There you go, a little seltzer. I see you, big dog.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's been quite the weeks for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you as well. We deserve a drink every now and again.
Yeah. No, but that was a complete game. No, but 3 penalties. Like,
And
it's,
a couple of questionable penalties as well. I
yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
could have been one
We can talk.
penalty
We can talk more in depth about this on
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
But yeah, that was such a bad call. There was a couple bad calls in
There's a
college
couple.
football today. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, if these guys are just like filling in for the old guys,
Well,
and
we
they're
were
just
dealing with Pac-12 refs today being at Oregon State,
mm,
so I think that had something to do with it, maybe.
so maybe they were just like, "Ha, you're gonna pay for this. You're doing so good that you have to leave."
Let me ask you this though. We've been really positive so far. Do you have any remaining concerns? Were there any things? I mean, today
The
was
run
mostly
game,
great, but what did you see
stopping
today that's kind of like, all right,
stopping the run,
okay,
stopping the run,
yeah,
because you got every bit of Oregon State out the gate when they're very fresh, right? And I honestly think it's just talent, but also just you talk about talent, you talk about guys that have motors, right? Does Oregon State's offensive line have motors to withstand you know a game against an elite team? No, they
hmm
do not. Will you be playing teams that have offensive linemen that have the stamina to withstand playing against an elite team?
hmm
Yeah, you will have to be able to gear up for those types of games. And I think stopping the run early on in a game has to be like priority number one on defense.
yeah,
And because once you get an offense that you're playing against and they feel comfortable doing whatever they want, the playbook is wide open for them.
yeah,
And you don't ever want to be in that spot.
yeah. I think my concern too also is on defense, and I always hesitate to question or criticize coaching because these coaches are so much smarter than I am or you am
Yeah.
or all of this. But like when you leave the first half and a lot of the fan base and myself included are kind of like, why is there no QB spy on Giovanni McCoy?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah,
simple
McCoy.
things like this. It's like I want my concern is that sometimes, like you mentioned earlier, it feels like Oregon tries to feel out a game a little bit too much, and they know that they
Yeah.
can go into halftime and make these adjustments, but make those adjustments after the first quarter and just try and make it earlier and don't have this stress for the first 2 quarters. Again, maybe they didn't have a QB spy because they were focused on something else that I could never even imagine thinking
I mean,
about. But that's just one thing.
I think they're probably banking on the fact that, hey, let's let him be the guy that beats us, right?
Yeah, it's fair.
And sometimes defenses, operate that way when you might have a guy that can, take boots and he can take boots and waggles and play action and get 15 a pop here, 5 here, 7 there, but may not have that explosive ability to where he's just taking one to the house like Dylan Gabriel did, right?
Hmm.
And um, so I think there's a little bit of that when it comes to preparation. But again, it's all about containment. We
Yeah,
got to figure out a way defensively to not allow that to happen,
yeah.
because once you get boots and all that play action, now your linebackers are in a pickle.
Hmm.
Hey,
That's very
coach, you
fair.
wanted me to stop the run, but hey, the quarterback, I saw him
Yeah,
drift out of the backfield. So I had my eyes where they're supposed to be,
yeah,
and um, but yeah, again, you just want to make sure. And I think to your point, scouting wise, and you go into a game, you would think you would have some type of package to where on certain downs and distances, or certain looks that you just check into something to where you're spying the quarterback, right?
yeah.
So, um, but I think everyone's learning, and
Still
they're
early.
still early in the season, and understanding what their players can do and what they can't do, right? And so
Hmm.
these are the games to figure that out. This was Oregon State was a game that we were supposed to win.
Yeah,
It's not news to us, right?
no,
It's just that we've been wanting them to win in this type of fashion, which is
yeah,
second half. I see a beaver dying on the ground, and I just let him suffer.
yeah. That's very
So
fair. Yeah,
sorry,
you
people.
hit him with your car. You maybe back over him once for good measure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's get into this new segment. This is a segment that I wanted to introduce after week 1 and then after week
Hmm.
2, but like the Ducks Wire player of the game, it didn't really feel appropriate. We're
Hmm.
calling this 3 quacks. We're just gonna each highlight 3 players from the game that we think really deserve mention for standing out, playing, not above what they're normally capable of, but just having really good games. Why don't you start us out? Give me one quack.
I'll give you a quack. Lamar.
Jalen
Was it
Lamar.
Jalen Lamar?
Jaden.
Jaden.
Yep.
So quack of the game for me is Jaden Lamar.
Yeah.
Jaden Lamar, everyone. Little history lesson. Last week against Boise State, he was
Player of
also
the
the
game.
player of the game.
Yeah, he
and
saved the
to,
day.
and today he got rewarded with being able to be in the game, um, because you're putting a beating on Oregon State, your rivalry, and you get a nice little gift in a receiving touchdown. So, and that
70 or
receiving,
a 68-yard screen
yeah,
pass
68
into the
yard screen
house.
pass, and that play was actually in my mind, you know, you know, put your neck, put your foot on their neck. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like, hey, we're
Yeah.
beating them, but let's make sure that we're actually beating them.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel, nice little pass to him. He takes it to the house. Um, and at that point, to me, it was game over.
Yeah.
And
I think
so
so.
I really enjoyed just seeing him, and just all just basically echoing the depth at the running back position, seeing his burst of speed in the open space, being effective as a pass catcher out of the backfield. I'd love to see those types of things out of our young guys.
And I think the fact that we got to see some of that depth, I think you and I may be taking a hit here that Jaden Lamar is probably the RB3 over our guy Jay Harris.
Yeah,
We'll see how that continues, but Jaden Lamar seems like the guy that
yeah.
spells Noah Whittington and Jordan James. So
I mean,
that was really good to see from
I'm
him.
putting him in the game with no question because I trust
Yeah,
him. He's
yeah,
earned my trust. He's earned my
yeah.
trust last week. He's like, oh
And that's
wait,
what
football play. Let me pick this ball up because no one else is actually paying attention to the most important thing on the field, which is the
yeah.
ball. Oddly enough, it feels like That ball did
Yeah.
not cross
Let me just pick
the
this up
touchdown
just for
line.
safekeeping. Yeah. Well, and I don't have the direct quote right in front of me, but Dan said as much after the game too. It's like that. I just trust Jaden Lamar. I know that he's always going to be there putting in the work, doing the right thing. So it
Yeah.
makes total sense that he's the third guy in this backfield. My quack, I want to give it to South Eugene's own, the high school I went to as well, Bryce Betcher. Team high 10 tackles in this game, 4 solo tackles, had 2 pass breakups on the first drive of the game. This is a Eugene kid through and through. He grew up hating the Beavers. I'm so happy for him. He played with his hair on fire today.
Yeah.
He's actually leading the team in tackles this year. He's the team's tackle leader. So I think we came into this year because he's a quote unquote walk-on player that plays baseball as well.
I
You
love
didn't
it.
think that he'd be better than, Jeff Bossa, Justin Jacobs, all these guys, but man, Betcher is a good player and he plays all out. I just love
Well, you
watching
know,
him
it's
play.
also good to have play alongside guys like Jeff Bossa,
Mhm.
where teams are obviously focusing and honing in on a guy like him, and it
Yeah.
says a lot about how they played today. When you have a guy like Jeff Bossa, and you know he might get some double teams here and there, right? So that frees up guys, and
Yeah.
when you are a freed up guy, you got to make it count. So shout out to him for making it count.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you got another quack for me?
The one and only Tasmanian Devil
Man, he had a game, didn't he?
Johnson.
He
Yes, he
had,
did.
let me see, 7 catches for 110 yards.
But I'm gonna point something out. Every time he touched the ball, especially on punt return, I almost felt like he could have took anything to the house.
God,
He's just so
he's
jittery.
he's so fun.
We're gonna call Tez the Jitterbug.
Jitterbug, I like it. New
What's
nickname.
up, Jitterbug? It's your boy
Yeah.
Jonathan Stewart, man. You got the quicks, and we like it. So just keep it up. You're another quack of the game.
I tweeted this as well. I would ask you because you know Duck history pretty well. Is he the most fun and entertaining punt returner that Oregon's had since Cliff Harris? Because I think he is. Maybe Braylon Addison, but man, Tez, like
Yeah,
you said, when he gets the ball back there, you don't know what's gonna
you
happen.
don't
He
really
can
know
take
what's
it.
gonna happen. I mean, we've had a lot of return men in Oregon's heyday. I mean, you got
Mhm,
Kenyon Barner, you got Michael James, you got the Anthony Thomas, you
mhm.
got Cliff. I mean, Oregon special teams is
Some good guys.
pretty good guys. I mean, even myself, right?
I
Big
was gonna
guy,
say there's a guy named Jonathan Stewart too that was pretty
big
good in special teams.
big guy. Just all I did was just run straight. I didn't do anything special.
Just
I
get out
ran
the way.
straight, get out of the way, and I'll make one cut, and hopefully that's all I need to do.
Hey, it
Um,
worked.
but yeah, man, I think things are starting to really kind of like come alive for us.
Mhm,
Last week we got to showcase to everyone that we had a good special teams unit.
mhm.
This week we didn't need it, and we
Yep.
were just able to kick. You know, shout out to our kicker, um,
Atticus, yeah.
Atticus. Atticus,
I know,
you
such a
must
cool
kick the
name.
ball, Atticus. Um, and you know he made all his kicks, which is nice to see. 100%er
Yeah.
going into the game, counted for 11 points, which is huge.
Yeah.
Uh,
Back
and
home
then
too. Because
yeah,
I mean
back
he
home,
transferred
yeah,
from Oregon
he
State.
got
Yeah.
all the boo. Yeah, he got all those boos out
All the
there, man.
booze, I love it.
Yeah, make sure you drink a lot of booze tonight, and then don't drink for the rest of the week because you
There you
have
go.
to prep your body and get yourself nice and ready for your next game. So
UCLA.
yeah,
My next quack, I'm giving it to none other than Noah Whittington. I thought that he played great today. 7 carries, 64 yards, 1 touchdown. His first touchdown since coming back from that ACL tear last year against Colorado in week 4. He had an impressive 9.1 yards per carry. Good
yeah,
Lord. That's just, you
that's
give him the
a
ball, it's basically a first down every time. That's just
yeah,
so impressive.
yeah. That's what you call a Porsche that's been
Yeah. He's
given
been in the
the green
garage
light.
just
He's been the
waiting to go.
green. Yeah, he's been given the green light.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to you, man. Hell of a game. Just no errors. This was like pure clean game. Like
Hmm.
I really love it.
Yeah.
My third quack
Yeah.
is the University of Oregon offensive line.
Okay. Yeah.
The entire offensive
Deserved.
line, all of you, even the guys that came in as backups. I appreciate you. You did a really good job. You listened to coaching, you listened to criticism throughout a whole week, and you rode the wave of adversity. When you
Mhm.
ride the wave of adversity, you will be rewarded. Just ride the wave.
Yep.
Make sure you stay on the surfboard, man. Don't fall off.
And just be patient. I mean, we've kind of talked about this last 2 weeks. Just be patient and trust the process. Just I
Yeah,
think Dylan Gabriel said this after the game too in one of his interviews. Like they they thought it was really amusing how, they won, things didn't look how they were supposed to, but everyone just started panicking and they're like, "All right, we're fine. We're gonna keep
yeah,
doing what we're doing. We'll get there eventually." And they just kind
yeah,
of trusted that, which I loved because we've been preaching that the past 2 weeks as well.
yeah,
My
yeah.
my final one, Tatum Tuioti, 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 quarterback hit in this game. Man, the young edge rushers on this team with Tatum and Mateo Younglele, and it's just there's so much depth and talent and young talent on this team. I can't wait to watch this defense play for the next 3-4 years because
Yeah.
they're going to keep reloading year after year, and they've got these guys that can be absolute game breakers. Tatum is one of them for
Hey,
sure.
don't get ahead of yourself.
No, I'm not. No, we're focused on this year
We're
only. This is the
still in
year.
2024.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks for checking me. Thanks for checking me. All right. I asked
Yeah.
this. It only feels right that I asked this after a win because I've asked you after the last 2 losses as well. But season outlook. How do you feel about this season in general? You and I have both been really high on the Ducks' chances and, their opportunities going forward. We still felt pretty good after the losses. How do you feel after this win?
I feel pretty good about this win. And looking across if I'm a player, I'm not
Mhm.
looking at anything, right? I'm just worrying about me, University of Oregon. It's all that matters every day in and day out. Do your job. But because I'm a fan now, I'm looking at what's happening um, throughout college football. And I mean, right now, I believe Georgia
I was
and
just gonna say, do you see
Kentucky.
this Georgia score?
Did Georgia score yet? Is it
No,
still
it's
3-3?
still no 9-3 Kentucky.
Oh, geez. So
Yeah,
live. This is great that it's live.
yeah.
Um, I didn't tweet this, by the way, but uh, Kentucky is about to shatter Georgia's dreams.
No, they're not. All right, all right. We're
Yes.
still in the third quarter.
What? How
Let's-
many minutes in the third quarter?
There's 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Georgia's got third
Georgia's
and
gonna lose.
9.
Georgia lost.
You're
Georgia
saying
lost.
Georgia lost it? Okay.
Georgia's gonna lose.
You want to bet?
They haven't figured it out. They have not figured it out yet. They're not gonna figure it out.
It did just go incomplete on 3rd and 9. It's 4th and 9 to kick a field goal.
Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia.
Oh man, we're gonna leave it up to the kicker. All right, but games like this
Uh-huh.
puts things into perspective for
Mhm.
college football in today's world. College football is changing, and you're now starting to see, FCS, schools and the schools that weren't, the Kentuckys, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, they're starting to, balance. They're starting to even out the playing field with talent a little
Yeah.
bit,
It's more parity.
and also coaching, right?
Mhm.
Think about like the different ways, that coaching has changed with all the data, all the research. How do you get the edge as a coach these days? So I really feel like the games that we played, Boise State, Idaho, didn't really go the way we wanted it to go, but we won still. We figured out how to beat the
Yep.
team that we're supposed to beat.
Gotta win your clunkers.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see some teams fall into that, you know, that category of upset
I
more
agree with
often.
you, but I don't think Georgia's gonna lose this game.
Watch. Hey,
Okay.
if
Let's
Georgia
put a
loses
bet
this
on it. Let's
game,
do it.
if Georgia loses this game, just know that I told you so.
Okay.
And if
And
they didn't,
if
and if
Georgia
they
wins
didn't,
this game, you have to do an entire show's rundown.
all All right.
No, we're gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that to the listeners.
So, as a matter of fact, no. Um, what's the score now?
They made the field goal, so 9-6 with like 4 minutes left in the third. But by the time people who listen to this live, so that's okay. They know what's going on. But people who are listening to this on Sunday or Monday, sorry, you already know what happens.
Yeah.
Let's move forward with this. We're gonna close up soon. Do you have anything else to get off your chest? I know we're gonna take a deeper dive on Tuesday and do our take and bake and kind of figure things out. But any other just instant reactions, things that you want to get off your chest before we leave tonight?
Nah, I'm excited for the next game in 2 weeks, and just really want to make sure that they, I'm pretty sure Coach Dan is going to make sure they, that his guys are focused and getting the bye week that they need to have.
Let me ask you about this though. There could be two trains of thought. I mean, do you like this bye week after a win? You're feeling good going into the bye week, or would you rather take the momentum of finally playing well and go right into the next game? Which I almost would like there to be a game this week because man, they figured it out. They want to go right now, keep that rhythm going.
Do they have 2 bye weeks in college?
Two bye weeks this year. Yeah, they got a bye week now and then last week of the year before Washington.
Yeah, so I would take. I actually, because of that, knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking this bye week, and then I'm going balls to the wall until that next bye week.
Okay.
And so I'm okay with this.
Okay. But as far as the momentum goes, I mean, just don't even think about the next bye week. Just the fact of next game momentum.
Yeah, who do we play next?
UCLA. Your boy Deshaun Foster, who got smacked by Indiana today.
Yeah, that's going to be a game where we just basically stack this game with that game, because to me they're the same tier of talent that we're playing against, right?
Yeah.
So you just do exactly what you did today against UCLA. That's the momentum that you carry over.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I think my lasting thought is I'm just gonna, sometimes you got to take a victory lap for patience. We've been preaching patience, and the people were thinking the ship was burning, and oh no, this team is not who we thought they were. They should fire everyone. And you know what? Chill, take a deep breath. Today is why. Sometimes they'll figure it out.
And for the record, we've been obviously stating out what they haven't been doing, knowing that they can do it, and they just need to hurry up and do
it. Yeah. Just do it. You can do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And so now they need to just do it. And now they need to do it again 2 weeks from now against UCLA. Hopefully they'll be able to get a little bit healthier. I know Jeffrey Boss is dealing with a little bit. He was kind of on like a pitch count today on defense, played only like third down reps. So I'm interested to see his snap counts. But Matthew Bedford, get him fully healthy. I think they're poised for a nice run, a stretch run here going over to the Ohio State game in October.
Yeah. Make sure you guys go to Burrito Boy and get a burrito.
I went to Burrito Boy the other night. It was delicious.
Yeah, I missed those.
Yeah, we need to get a sponsor by. You need to hook that up. We can get a sponsor by Burrito Boy.
Hey, yo, shout out. Hey, yo, Burrito Boy, holla at us.
Burrito Boy, and hit up the Mike and get that Killer Burger sponsorship.
Oh yeah, Killer Burger. Yo, Mike, we trying to get sponsored, man.
All right, with that, we will end it right there. You can check out more of my work at duckswire.usatoday.com. Follow me at Zachary C. Neel on Twitter. Follow Jay Stew on Twitter at JonathanStewR1. Make sure to check out the Believe in Panthers podcast, the Stew and Crew podcast. For myself, Zach Neel, for my co-host, Jonathan Stewart, we will talk to you guys on Tuesday night. Until then, take it easy. All right.